Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome back to, and today we would be having the concluding session of the course on product engineering and design thinking. Interestingly, whatever we have done so far in product engineering, design thinking, design driven innovation, on all related things, finally will culminate into its ultimate application or implementation. As you know, that apart from the jobs in corporate organization, which this kind of things will be of great help, but the current milieu is encouraging and opportunities being created in entrepreneurship. And of course, not so many jobs are also available in the country or anywhere. So therefore, it was an imperative to discuss how this knowledge that we have gained can be used to create a venture and to go for a startup, and what are the tools and methodologies involved in this. But I would like to tell you that though I'm talking about startup, but one thing, this knowledge of the entire thing would be useful if one is not even doing his or her own startup, but are interested in working in new startup companies. Then also this knowledge will be immensely valuable. And that is what is the focus of today's discussion. So here it is more of a career-oriented discussion, of course, with academic discussions including tools, methodologies, techniques. And so I'm sure this will open up a new vista for you, those who are particularly the freshers, the young graduates and recent graduates who are interested in using this kind of knowledge for your career advancement. So as I have already told you what this course will contain, I am just going into the detail of saying that basically we will be discussing the tools and methodologies and techniques, how this entrepreneurship venture using product engineering and design can be done properly, perfectly, and effectively and usefully. So here we would be talking about the tools, methodologies, steps. Like say for we will be exploring the value proposition map, that when we are saying design or product, that means we are creating value. Value is to be only if customers would actually look into your product, the value that one is looking for or searching for, and how it fits in the overall business model, that also we would see. So we would be discussing the business model canvas and its the value proposition canvas, which is actually superimposed in it. And then we will discuss the various methodologies of involving, or the steps involving the value proposition concepts, implementation steps, and how the lean startups can be made, where with minimal resources, without wasting time, very quickly one can launch, etc. And so we will be talking about those tools, including the lean canvas, which is more entrepreneur centric. So we just go into the topic that we intend to discuss today. And here we start with the saying that how the design is facilitating the companies and how it is being perceived by startups Today, our focus will be startups. That is either your prospect in launching your own startup or in a startup-based company, or in fact, I would tell you earlier also I had mentioned that if you can have this kind of attitude, mentality, knowledge, skills, the same would be very much appreciated now in modern times in corporate organizations as entrepreneurs. Because corporates are now looking for people with this kind of entrepreneurial attitude, which are, and they call it entrepreneurs. With that idea, let us go into and learn what the startups has to say about, particularly focused on design. You can see it is mentioned that 30% have a design founders from a survey of 2016. The reference is provided here. 85% have founders or top executives address design decisions. 87% believe design is rather important, and all agree that design matters. So having said that, we would go into our core discussion that product engineering supports systematically creating innovative products that can go into the not so moving markets, yet create innovation and allow the business to be sustainable. And the focus is consistently to deliver innovative, newly developed products into the market and create disruption. That those are disruptive innovation, and that drives growth. Design as a discipline smoothens or waxes distinct competitive advantages, and the process can be applied to technology ventures. So every wing of the business is meant to solve some problem, and individuals concerning products or services, and in doing so, the design oriented approach, be it design thinking oriented or be it design driven oriented, be that as it may, this we would see that those who are using the design focused strategies, they are doing better. That they are financially tower over others, and that we can see very quickly. We would see, because we don't have to go into detail of this discussion, but we can see that those which companies, you can see, study it later on, it is in the slide, but my objective is not to give you the exact percentage, these and that, but to show you that those companies which are design focused, or rather having given design as an important place in the business strategy, their stock market values in the market has gone up hugely, and say more than 200%. That you can see, and the reference is given from the Design Management Institute has published this. And there are certain names of the companies also that you can study later. That it is not to go into the company details or not to go year on year, that is 2005 to 2015. But the question is that here you see that those who are adopting, they are doing better. That is the objective. So that is an I would say motivation, and that's the inspiration. So with this we go into the tools, as I said, that how actually this can be accomplished. One very common thing in business, technology oriented business or other businesses, is that business model canvas, because ultimately if a startup is a business, and so we would start with the business model canvas. And business model canvas actually, it talks about in one page, in one screen, how you can visualize the entire business. So how can that be? So basically, one is the most important part is the value proposition or the offering that you are making. On one part would be the customer who would be taking that, which is the right part of the canvas, stating who they are, what relationship the venture has with them, and how will the enterprise reach them. That's the customer part. There is another part which is called the partner part, with whom we would be associating to deliver that. it may be the suppliers, it may be the consultants, it may be whatever resources, what are the resources required for this. That is the how we are going to build and give it to that. So that is on the left part of the canvas, and which is the key partners part, involves what activities are required, what resources are required, what key partners would be needed, etc. And so we have talked about three. That is, one is that what we are going to do, the product or service, which is called value proposition. And then the right part is the customer, left part is the supplier or key partners. And finally, what happens in a business, ultimately it has to survive on profit. So at the bottom, it is the bottom part comprises of two things. One is the revenue stream and the cost structure, which is ultimately the performance with so much of things. So here, how much will the cost of producing the goods, and how much revenue it will earn, and finally from that what profit will be made. So a business model canvas proposed by Alexander Osterwelder has proposed this, and we are going to discuss that in a bit more detail so that we can see here 4 blocks, as I have just explained. It actually has got 9 sections. Practically, as you have seen in the last discussion, here I go back to the last discussion. Here you would find that first one, the value proposition is 1 section, and then the right part has 3 sections, the left part has 3 sections, and the bottom part has 2 sections. So in all, it is 9 sections. So here, all the 9 sections are explained. And this is the kind of a template which shows all these 9 parts. Of course, the letters are small here purposefully because we wanted to keep it in 1 page. But if you zoom in, you will see. But even if you don't zoom, subsequent slides will actually show you how those are presented in a bigger format, bigger template format. So you can see on the rightmost is the customer segment. On thereafter, there are 2 things: one, the customer relationship and channel in the customer part. Similarly, on the left side is the key partners, and these are other 2, that key activities and key resources. And at the center, as I said, is a value proposition, and the bottom left is a cost structure, and bottom right is the revenue stream, which is already mentioned here. And of course, we know that profit is the difference between the revenue earned and the cost structure. So in 1 page, we get the entire view of the business. Now, when we are saying that, our focus here as product engineers, product managers, to focus on how actually the whole thing is going to materialize. It moves around the central part, which is the value proposition. What value? Because all the businesses will ultimately materialize, be successful only if we are offering the right value, the right product. So here, what we do is we discuss on the value proposition, which is the part is the first set of with foremost. What is the grand idea? So what is the value proposition? So we'll have to talk. Value proposition is the idea. What is the problem being targeted? I mean, what problem will be solved, and the needs of the customer to be met. In what way is the problem being solved, and there are good alternative solutions. But if there are not good solutions, and if we are creating something meaningful and solving that problem with a grand idea, then that is our value proposition. All right. To ensure that the need is correctly identified and understood, for which the design is embarked for the steps of design thinking. Empathize and define may be adhered to. So here, to understand how it is solving that problem, what is the problem, Now you recall, we can connect it to our earlier discussion of design thinking, where the understanding the problem becomes clearer. So the attributes of the defined problem will be the cue for the value proposition, and to develop the MVP, or the minimum viable product, through which we can test whether our value proposition is right. We have to test with the customer. What the value proposition generally contains: target user, what is the type of target user, who are they, user needs, the problems particularly that is being solved, in which category the grand idea falls in, which market segment or product type, how does it benefit and solve problem, who are the competitors, and how it is differentiated due to its innovativeness. So these are the theme of value proposition. Now we would see how the value proposition can be embedded in, because the value proposition is a thing that we are creating the product. Now how that product that we are creating is affecting the business or in the business model, that is being presented through this diagram, where now you recall the earlier business model template that I had shown. Now on that I have superimposed these two things. One is that the two major elements of value proposition. One is that value proposition map, or value map in short, and other is the customer profile or customer map. So these are the two things which are placed on the business model canvas. You can see that the customer profile is of the customer segment, and the value proposition map is under value proposition. So it very clearly states the its synchronization and fitment. So the value proposition is to be embedded here, as I have already said, so value proposition here acts as a plugin. That this is the business model, we plug in the value proposition and see how it affects, and that allowing the technopreneur to zoom into the details of how values are being created for customers, so that the business model ultimately is successful. So unless we dissect, unless we go into the value proposition, the correct value proposition will not be offered, correct product will not be offered, and then therefore correct business model will, or effective or successful business model will not be ready, and which ultimately will not work if the value proposition is not perfect or done well. So and as you know, as I've told you, business model canvas, a tool to illustrate how the venture creates, delivers and captures value. So how it does that, all that, and with that value proposition logically comes in. Then we zoom in onto the value proposition canvas. As I said, that it has got two broad elements, that one the customer profile map and there is a value map or value proposition map. Now the value and the customer profile map will have the customer jobs, that is jobs to be done. The customer wants certain jobs to be accomplished using that product, any service or any system. And the customer also has certain pains which needs to be attended to and solved, the need basically. And also the customer wants certain gains, that okay, if that is there in the product, then it would help. Now in our offerings, as we are creating value in the value proposition or value map, so we have to see those three things are being met. So what we are doing is that customer jobs, for that we have to create certain products and services, and that to address those pains, there has to be some pain relievers, that which alleviates or removes the pain, and gain creators, which actually are contributing to the gain. Now the alignment of these two is giving the fit, best fit. This fit is the first fit or we can simply be calling it problem solution fit. The customer side is the problem, value map is the side of solution. So if there is a correct problem solution fit, then this is a valid item which we can take it forward. So now, so a value proposition design aids in gaining clarity on the patterns of the value creation by the way of organizing information regarding customers' need, jobs to be done, pains and gains. I have already said that. Getting the venture team aligned for leveraging the experience, skills and energy with shared language in creating value for the customers and business. And of course, reducing the risks of failure and saving time by painstakingly, rigorously, relentlessly testing the important hypothesis intrinsic to the product or venture ideas. So finally, the overriding idea is to do the design, test, and deliver to meet the needs of the customer. So value proposition canvas, a tool apt for this purpose. So design, test, and deliver. These are the activities through which the needs of the customer is being met. So we should keep in mind that in our discourse so far, what we had, our focus was product engineering, design, testing, and finally this is being delivered. So with this knowledge, input, skills, whatever we have so far, we can simply use it for creating new products and go for new business, or help a startup setting up its new business, or a new business can where the person can be employed as a important resource person. So the canvas we have already mentioned, value proposition canvas, we have seen that it is categorized as products and services, pain relievers and gain creators. We have already seen that. Now, products and services, the items around which the value proposition is built. That is the value proposition, how it is being offered, how it is being given. If it is a food, if it is a refrigerator, if it is a air conditioner. So how the value, say the cooling of a person is the value, and that is being given by the air conditioner. Hunger is the need that is being fulfilled with the food. So the product or item actually is creating the around which the value proposition is being built. Pain relievers, so how it abates the customer pain. Gain creators, how it creates the customer gains, or say in some case it is delightment, excitement. So the customer segment profile, as I have said, addresses a particular customer segment in the business model in a structured and explicit manner, to breaking the customer or problem solution fit down into jobs to be done, pains and gains. Now, I have used just now a word called fit. I have already used the word fit earlier when we talked about the value proposition map, where the problem solution fit, the first fit we had discussed. Now, here quickly we would go to this a bit elaboration, but it will be on this thing. I will not go the detail of it because it is self-explanatory and we can understand. Customer jobs, their jobs to be done, that says what exactly they are trying to do. Pains, that means the characterizes the awful outcomes, risks, which is undesired potential outcomes. Pain severity can be extreme or maybe moderate. Like customer jobs can be important or insignificant. Categories is there, extent is there. So all are not equally important. We have to see particularly though to address first which are most important, and best fit would be when we can find out, prioritize the most important things and then work out a value proposition around it. So, similarly, the gains illustrate the outcomes desired to be achieved or the concrete benefits sought by the customer. Now, very briefly, I would say that customer jobs, as I said, jobs to be done, etc., are of three types. One is that, say, there are three types of jobs to be done usually, mainly. One is the functional jobs, something that is to be done for a scissor which cuts paper, or say a mixer which grinds spices, or save contact in mobile phone. That's the purpose. So, functional jobs. Social jobs is when someone is craving for to look good or gain status or power. Say, for example, someone is buying a car which gives a social status or power, or say buying trendy dresses, or say classy dresses, or be perceived as tech savvy person with modern electronic gadgets. So that's the social needs, and therefore the social jobs it has to perform. And finally, personal and emotional jobs that also the product will have to perform. Say, for example, here if someone is using a gas oven, so that it gives a peace of mind or safety. Similarly, one is booking a night taxi, whether it is safe, etc. So all these are actually bundled in the value proposition, and which are the customer jobs. So customer jobs just may not be an item per se, but it has also the other aspects, that it has a social connotation, it has emotional or personal connotation. So we cannot dissociate these factors from the product, that we must keep in mind. Because why I'm saying that, when we will design that product, we have to keep those aspects in mind, how it is going to be of help. Regarding customer gains, I would say there are certain kind of gains which people know that they are there, they're the basic, but without that it cannot work. And it is something are quite expected, that okay, that everywhere is, this company is giving, so it will give that kind of a thing. Say, for example, there are four types of such gains: required gains, expected gains, desired gains, and unexpected gains, which are actually surprises. Say, for example, required gains is when absolutely basic. Say, for example, call with a smartphone, that one can call with a smartphone, that is basic. That is a required gain. I mean, without that, it will not work simply. Expected gains is that when you know that Tesla is producing, say, for example, an electric vehicle, they are making it very stylish and nice looking, etc. Nicely designed. So, obviously, that is expected gains. When you are buy that, you will automatically get that. Desired gains, which are normally that go beyond what one expects from a solution, but would love to have that. Say, for example, if I have a mobile phone or a laptop that can be seamlessly integrated with other devices. Okay, so that is the desired gains. Last but not the least is the unexpected gains, and that is the delighter. Perhaps now you would recall our discussion of the Kano model that we had discussed earlier, that the unexpected gains that go beyond customer expectations. And for example, Apple's touchscreen. Now people know touchscreens, but when touchscreen was not there, Apple brought it. So it was something very unexpected. It was surprises, something absolutely new that came. And interestingly, this desired gains, for example, if you ask people to verbalize that, okay, do you have any desire something can be done, perhaps but then for unexpected gains, hardly customers would be able to say what more is required. And so here there are many examples. I had given the examples of iPod earlier also. So there are many such. And again here, as I said, in terms of gain, there are two types. One is that something which is essential or something is nice to have. Essential means the problem is hair on fire, but which is urgent, which is important. Without that, it cannot work. And something is nice to have. Okay, fine. If it is there, it is very nice. Similarly, as I said, that similar was for pains, which was either extreme or moderate. Here it is essentially or nice. But to be successful, I'll tell you, in a new product creation and startup, focus should be on essential or hair on fire kind of a problem than nice to have, because essential problems will always have a market and the chance of being successful is there. So largely that is the advice. Now we come to a consideration of fit. One fit I have already discussed is that the problem solution fit through value proposition canvas. Already we have discussed that. And then which is the first fit, the problem solution fit, as I have said. And in that, the thing is that the key job is to be done, to be addressed, pains and gains to be mitigated, and essential gains are created that the customers look for. So it is to be tried relentlessly, consistently, to find and maintain fit. And fit is, and striving for it is the essence of successful value proposition. Continuous, many iterations. So the best value proposition is to come out. So as I have said that first fit is the problem solution fit that deals with the jobs to be done that the business reckon on as addressable through the value proposition design. Multiple already value proposition are prototyped to see which one evolves as the best one, and the best fit, this fit is perceived to be as achieved, is not yet proven though. But the fit that is on paper, that value proposition fit means it is on paper that okay, if we do that, the customer would like that, etc. But actually people have not paid yet to buy that. So this is the first fit. That's why we say that the problem solution fit. But that is the first important fit, that which is essential. Without that, we cannot go to any other fit. So, but then the what are the other stages of fit? After the problem solution fit, which is the first fit, as I said, the next steps in this regard are to find evidence. As I said, the customer are willing to buy and pay for it. So, or else we have to again start redesigning if the customers are not buying. So it is an iterative process altogether. So and this is a process to do new versions, quicker the better, and for that rapid prototyping comes in. We have talked about rapid prototyping in one of our earlier lectures, and so here with the help of rapid prototyping, we should try and quickly come to a thing called with MVP, the problem solution fit. The second fit, as I said, when people are ready to buy, that eventuates when customers favorably or positively respond to the value proposition and the offerings gain traction in the market. Then actually it is understood that its product market fit has happened. That means people are ready to pay. And the last fit is when actually it is the business model fit. That means when this is becoming scalable, that if you produce more, there will be more sales and there will be more profit. That means market has completely taken it up. So business model fit is the most important thing. So iterative process to do the value proposition and business model are constant. The quest for business model fit necessitates rigorous back and forth between designing a value proposition that creates value for customers and a business model that creates value for the business. as iterating. So business model is creating value for the business. The value proposition is creating the value for the customer, because value for the business will never come. We cannot come without creating value for the customer. So by creating value for the customer only, we can survive and create value for the business. So this matching and iterative models between these two are absolutely important. Now, just you see that just we have superimposed that our consideration of the innovation concept, which we are applying in the value proposition. That is, you remember that in design thinking we discussed the innovation happens at the intersection of desirability, feasibility and viability. Desirability when the customers like it, feasibility when it can be translated economically and effectively and technologically correctly. Viability is when it actually can produce revenue and income and profit. So these three, only when it meets the innovation, actual correct innovation comes, sustainable innovation comes. And this, therefore, design thinking model of IDEO is superimposed to show that this is desirability actually is connected between the value proposition and the customer. And there the desirability comes. Desirability is connected to the customer. Similarly, the feasibility is connected with the production system, whether it can be made, how economically it can be made, technically can be made. So it is the key partner, key activities, key resources, etc. And finally, the viability comes from the cost and revenue. So these three are now, you can see, superimposed on the business model. So business model and design thinking or innovation together are being visualized in one template, one diagram, which gives us the clear view of what we are aiming at. And this is just another version of it. Now, instead of this thing, we have masked it to give it a better clarification. So the desirability on the left side, these three blocks, the four blocks, the customer related three blocks, and the value proposition, the fourth block. So four blocks, and the feasibility is those three blocks, which is the key activities, key resources, and key partners. So, and the viability, of course, the two which is referred. So the desirability is the customer development. Feasibility is to also check the whether it can be made in house or it is to be bought, or make or buy decision, which is very commonly called. Either you make it in house, whether you have the capability to make it in house. If you don't have capability, one has to buy from outside or hire the service, or borrow, so that it can be created. So that's how technically it can be made feasible. Economically, how it can be made viable. So technical feasibility and economic viability both are required, and people's or customers' desirability is the other part. Now, the customer development, as we say, it actually has four steps. One is the customer discovery, customer validation, customer creation, and company building. We will not go into the detail. We know broadly what it would be, but for us at this stage, we need not go, because it is not that discussion. Our focus is on how we are going to do the value proposition in business model, those customer validation, etc., discovery, etc. we have discussed partly when we discussed MVP, how we take the views of the customer, where it is important just to note that customer discovery, which is important in MVP, is about the problems, whether we have selected the right problem, whether you have selected the right solution, or whether the price that we are thinking is right, and whether go to the market strategy is right. So these are the four hypotheses. Those are to be checked with the MVP. So here the last point is important. Customer discovery is about problems, solutions, price, and go-to-market hypothesis. Here we have discussed that, and so we have come back to this. Now, in terms of translating the idea, this is a thing which we need not go into the details now, but why I have kept it, because maybe when you are translating, one may try to find out what is the relationship. Say, for example, for certain products, the customer and supplier relationship has to be very strong. The entrepreneur and customer relationship has to be very strong. Like, say, if it is a customized product, every time a new product comes up or something, then the customer has to be involved and co-creation happens. So that is the relationship. But for other standard products, it may not be so important. So what are the resources required? What are the partners that we have discussed? The major question is whether the co-founders themselves are able to build it. We have also discussed that in translating a stakeholder. But then how, whether a person is making, which party, the supplier is making, what is the relationship, what kind of relationship we are making, whether it would be in close proximity, or whether it would be within the company, or it would be brought through certain transportation method. All these are the, the relationship thing, and which is, and they are the stakeholders. So if we can map them. And as I have mentioned here very clearly, no elaborate discussion here on stakeholder mapping is necessary, but I have presented this in case you want to do a sketching, just rough sketching. You don't have to exactly follow this, but a rough sketch as to how one is connected to this thing. If the customer is very closely related in this particular kind of thing, if the particular suppliers are related, then that would be of help. That's the purpose. One doesn't have to study that right now in great detail unless it is necessary, but I am presenting, if in case during practice it comes up, you know what to go and where to do. So we would be just taking up our last kind of a discussion on the lean part, the lean startup, which has been proposed by Eric Ries, who have talked about, as we were discussing MPP, but his suggestion is that, his proposition is that it should be quickly, prototyped, and the learning will come from that. And he suggested a business build, measure, lean, or BML loop, so that, the BML loop helps to do it quickly. It saves money, time, and resources, and by starting with a minimal version, that is MVP, where only the core features may be tested, and before some big investments are made to allow quickly identify potential issues before they become expensive mistakes. So quickly, if we can see, and therefore we can save ourselves from committing mistakes. And we have talked about the MVP, and earlier also, the crucial task is to create tangible or physical model only with the core features, so that the functioning and characteristics of the product can be verified. That is the purpose. The product engineering team or startup would aspire for as much as input as possible quickly. As I said, quickly, otherwise time and money will be wasted. And as I also earlier had said, rapid prototyping comes in very handy. And if it doesn't work, then we can quickly go back to the drawing board and try and improve with revisions. And such feedback-based revisions and testing of the prototype may be required for multiple times. But then, so be it. Multiple times is fine, because before committing to a large-scale production system and failing is not a very desirable option. And here, practically, you are on the last leg. We would say that here also a lean canvas has been proposed, which is by S. Moria. It is similar to business model canvas, but here business model canvas is mainly from the outward look, how the investors and others would be looking at the business. But here it is from the entrepreneur's perspective, how we can create unfair advantage, that is competitive advantage. Unfair advantage means which is not available with others. So here we have on the left side problems, and existing alternatives, problems and existing solutions, alternatives, then solutions, how you are proposing the solutions. There are existing solutions, and what is your solution or our solution, and what are the key metrics, how we measure that it is working or it will work. And the central part remains unchanged, that is unique value proposition here also. And as I said, there is a unfair advantage. That is the most important thing. That is the novelty, that is the innovativeness. What new are we creating? That how we can put entry barrier. That is, unfair advantage means if we can do something where we can put entry barrier to the competitors, potential competitors, then we have great mileage, which is which often done is through the patenting or using IP, because if you create something new, a new design, new engineering or new technology, then it can be patented, and once it is patented, the others cannot copy it quickly. So that is very important. So rest are all more similar customer segments and channels, and particularly here we're talking about the early adopters, because see here, for any new product, what is the customer? For a new thing that comes in the market, be it iPhone, be it smartphone, be it laptop, be it anything, or electric vehicle, we have to find out where to enter, which is called beachhead. That is ideal listing of ideal customers who are the early adopters. Not everybody would be taking in the first go. Slowly and slowly it will pick up, but we have to identify them. And the bottom is same to the business model canvas, that is cost structure and revenue stream. Here, so this is important from the conversion side, from the engineering side, and from actually product creation side, and from the entrepreneur's perspective. It has not something so much to do with the selling it to the investors, but then this will help, because once this thing is done right, business model canvas would be more strongly be able to be built. Finally, with all these, we come to the conclusion and say that this discourse deals with the product engineering with design first approach in techno entrepreneurship, and elaborates the mechanism using tools, as we have said, like business model canvas, like value proposition canvas, including discussion on fits, different kinds of fits, 3 types of fits, so as to be effective for designed value offerings, the products or services, and can be competitively be launched in the market, which is an imperative for successful technology entrepreneurship. Here is the reference, and I can tell you that here is the culmination of the knowledge, and if you can really go into the depth of it, new prospect, future, and economy is perhaps going to be created, because startups, entrepreneurship is the buzz of the day, and many entrepreneurs, many engineers, technologists, scientists are taking this route and being successful. It is not only Bill Gates, it is not only Elon Musk, it is not only Zuckerberg, but there are many. All techno entrepreneurs are actually going to create the future. So I believe, will you? Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Hope you will do very well. Thank you.